Ei, gente, tudo bem? Today we are going to look at the last tense. We are going to learn of the subjunctive, okay? So we just have three tenses, the present subjunctive, imperfect subjunctive, and now we are going to see the future subjunctive. Now, it's always good to remind you the subjunctive has to be in the dependent clause. And how do you know it's a dependent clause? It does not make sense by itself, right? So the subjunctive is always in the dependent clause. So it means you have to have another sentence to so that it can make sense, right? So let's take a look here how and when we are going to use the future subjunctive. So as the tense inside the mood says, it's you're talking about the future. So you're going to talk about hypothesis in the future or conditions, right? What I need to happen. So for example, if I finish working early, I will go to the movies. So this is a condition for something to happen in the future. Okay, so let's see how these go. So first of all, let's see how you form the future subjunctive. So remember that it's always important for you to know how you do this, because then you can just, if you know where the tense originates, then you can put any verb you want in the future subjunctive. So you also go to the third person plural of pretérito perfeito, okay? Just like the imperfect subjunctive. But instead of removing the ram part, you're going to just remove the okay? The am. So, futuro do subjuntivo. Terceira pessoa do plural do pretérito perfeito. Remova o e adicione nada, nada, mus e em. So, let's see, for example, the verb comprar. So, third person plural, eu comprei, você comprou, nós compramos, eles compraram. Now you're going to remove the so you have comprar. Now, when you have comprar, now you're going to add nothing for the first person, nothing for second and third person, and then for first person plural, nós, you are going to add mus. So you have comprarmos. So you're going to say, se eu comprar, se você comprar, se nós comprarmos. And se eles, se vocês comprarem. Okay? The verb dormir. So remember that the third person plural is eram, eram, irão. Okay? For the regular verbs. So dormiram. Take out the so you have dormir. So, how do you conjugate the future subjunctive? Se eu dormir, se você dormir, se nós dormirmos, se você, se eles dormirem, right? So, we always conjugate it this way, like se, so that you remember that it's a condition in the future, okay? O verbo ir. So, ir ou ser, okay? So, the verb to be or the verb to go. What's the third person preterite? Foram. Take out the so you have for. So in the future, how are you going to say that? If I go to the party, you're going to say se eu for. If you go, se você for. If she goes, se ela for. If we go, se nós formos. Se eles forem. The verb fazer. Third person plural, fizeram. Take out the fizer. Se eu fizer, se você fizer, se nós fizermos, se eles fizerem. Now, please pay attention to the spelling, because if you just add one little letter there, it changes completely the verb, okay? So it becomes, for example, dormir. If you say dormiremos, and then it becomes future and not subjunctive anymore, okay? Future indicative. So, because the subjunctive is always in a dependent clause, what do we need? We need to have another sentence that will make the sentence complete and will make the thought a complete thought. So if I just say, for example, if I travel, and then you're just waiting for the rest of the sentence, right? If I travel, I will visit. If I travel to Europe, I will visit Paris. So, se eu viajar para a Europa, eu visitarei a Europa. Eu visitarei Paris, okay? So, So this is what we call the first type conditional. Okay, so if I travel to Europe, I will visit Paris. So there is a chance that this will happen. So there is a possibility that something will happen in the future. Okay, so let's see some conjunctions that are common when you use the future subjunctive. So as soon as I travel, when I travel, if I travel. So let's see some of these, okay? And these are on your book, they are on page 487, okay? So you see that the main clause is going to be in the futuro do indicativo, what we have just learned, okay? So irei, irá, iremos, irão. So we remember that you have 3 irregular verbs only. Farei, fará, faremos. The Z changes to R in these 3 verbs, okay? So let's go through these exercises here. Logo que eu me, blá, 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 eu encontrar o emprego. So, as soon as. So you will have to know these conjunctions, okay? As soon as, and then you have the verb formar, that means to graduate. So, as soon as I graduate, I will find a job. Então, logo que eu me formar, eu encontrarei um emprego. And here you have logo que eu me formar, vírgula. So you know that when the dependent clause begins the sentence, then you know that this is where the subjunctive will be, okay? Because it's separated by a comma, all right? So you know that you can shift the position of the clauses, okay? But not the verb tense inside the clause. So, logo que eu me formar, eu encontrarei um emprego. Or, if you want to say, I will find a job as soon as I graduate, you can also do that. Eu encontrarei um emprego assim, logo que eu me formar, ou assim que eu me formar. Número 2. Se nós, o verbo fazer, so, fizeram, take out the fizermos. Se nós fizermos todos os exercícios, nós faremos uma boa prova. So if we do all the exercises, we will do well on the test. Quando minha mãe me telefonar, eu pedirei a ela que mande dinheiro. So when my mother calls me, so you're talking about the future. When she calls me in the future, I will ask her to send money, okay? O verbo pedir, pedirei. Remember that the future indicative, it's very simple. Just add the endings to the infinitive. So, pedir, pedirei. Número 4. Enquanto eles não chegarem, nós não poderemos começar a aula. So, until they arrive, we won't be able to start the class. Or, we won't be able to start the class until they arrive. Nós não poderemos começar a aula enquanto eles não chegarem. Número 5. Se você não estudar, você não entenderá nada que a Vanessa faz na aula. So, if you don't study, you will not understand anything that Vanessa says in the classroom, okay? Or you can invert it. Você não entenderá nada que a Vanessa fala na aula se você não estudar. Se eu tiver tempo no fim de semana, eu irei ao cinema. So, if I have time on the weekend, I will go to the movies. Or, I will go to the movies if I have time on the weekend. Eu irei ao cinema se eu tiver tempo. So, remember that if the dependent clause comes after the main clause, then you don't use a comma. But if the dependent clause begins, then you have to use the comma afterwards, okay? Então, se eu tiver tempo no fim de semana, vírgula, eu irei ao cinema. Número 7. Se nós usarmos o celular na sala, a Vanessa ficará brava. So, if we use the cell phone in class, Vanessa will be angry. Número 8. Quando nós tivermos mais dinheiro, nós viajaremos para a África. So, when we have more money, we will travel to Africa. Or, we will travel to Africa when we have more money. Nós viajaremos para a África quando tivermos mais dinheiro. Número 9. Nós não faremos nada enquanto seu pai não chegar. We won't do anything until your father arrives, okay? Or you can invert it. Until your dad arrives, we are not going to do anything. Enquanto seu pai não chegar, vírgula. Nós não faremos nada. Remember that the verb fazer, trazer e dizer are irregular in the futuro do presente, right? The simple future. Número 9. Número 10. Eu irei ao Cristo Redentor quando estiver no Rio. So I will go to the statue of the Christ Redeemer when I am in Rio. Or you can invert. Quando eu estiver no Rio, vírgula, eu irei ao Cristo Redentor. 11. Eles escreverão a composição se eles tiverem tempo. So they will write the composition if they have time. Or you can invert. If they have time, se eles tiverem tempo, vírgula, eles escreverão a composição. Eu trarei, the verb trazer, dizer, trazer, dizer e fazer, they're regular in the future, right? Então, eu trarei meu dicionário para a sala de aula se a Vanessa pedir. I will bring my dictionary to class if Vanessa asks. Or, if Vanessa asks, se a Vanessa pedir, eu trarei meu dicionário para a sala de aula. Nós telefonaremos logo que chegarmos em Nova York. So, we will call as soon as we arrive in New York. Or, as soon as we arrive in New York, logo que chegarmos em Nova York, vírgula, nós telefonaremos. Quando eu for rico, ou rica, in my case I'm a woman, so I'm going to say rica. Quando eu for rica, eu comprarei um iate. So here I forgot to put the verb. So the verb is ser. Então, quando eu for rica, eu comprarei um iate. So, when I am rich, I will buy a yacht. So, or, I will buy a yacht. Eu comprarei um iate quando eu for rica. Ok? Obrigada, gente. Até a próxima. Tchau.